Welcome to
BamBam-O-Rama. BamBam-O-Rama.
Welcome, Adrian.
What is this?
The BamBam-O-Rama podcast. So recently, one of your favorite video games became a hit of a streaming service show. Are they still called TV shows?
No.
Streaming service
Series?
shows? Series is probably what people are saying now, huh?
Yeah. What's your favorite series? What series are you binging?
That's fair. But so Fallout.
Yeah, Fallout. That's what's up.
It is what's up. And I'm not gonna lie, dude. I don't think I don't have as much experience with the Fallout games as you do. But for once, it feels like they got a video game adaptation correct.
I am happy.
Yeah, dude.
I am extremely happy. There's very few things I've got to complain about that show, and they would have to be like, you'd have to coerce me to actually be complaining about it.
Right.
I love that show. Yeah, I've watched it twice now.
I was gonna say, I think you've watched it twice. I watched the last episode multiple times, but that's because I kept falling asleep during it. Not because it's boring. It's really good. I just, for some reason, kept putting it on at bedtime. Sometimes sleep wins. I think we're going to talk mostly about Fallout and maybe even video game adaptations of movies and whatnot. So if you haven't watched Fallout, we probably will drop spoilers. So I'm not going to ask you to stop watching this. Let it play while you go watch the new Fallout series, if that's something you want to get into. But don't stop watching because we need the plays.
Highly recommend it.
Yeah, dude, it's really good.
So one of the big things before we get into, theories and stuff like that is it looks real pretty.
Mm-hmm.
There are moments where it's very GoPro, very Fallout kind of camera on one. Like the video game was taken and put into the show in some ways. There's no VATs or like, heads up display or anything like that, but the camera movement and the lens really feels like the game.
I get that.
I very much enjoy that.
That's what I was going to say. I remember like because I know we watched the series separately, but we did watch the first episode together.
Yeah.
And when I turned it on, like within 5 minutes, I think I even said, I feel like I'm playing this game right now.
Yeah.
Like I feel like they really captured it.
Yeah. Every new scene, I want to be on that set because it feels like it's as close as it could possibly be to the real thing. So, yeah, would absolutely, chop off a leg to get out there and play a ghoul or something on as an extra.
God, dude, that would be cool. Like if you, because they did have feral ghouls in there, right? Yeah.
Yeah.
I think that would be like if we could do that. If you guys are interested in letting some YouTubers do something, we could be feral ghouls. You cover us in makeup. No one's even gonna know that we look this gross. Would we look better?
I don't know.
Well, we'll do it. I'll chase after someone and try to bite their arm off. Just forgive me if I actually do.
Yeah, I would love to try to be on that set somehow.
I think that'd be cool. I wonder if they are going to do something like, because feral ghouls are essentially zombies, and The Walking Dead, which at the beginning of The Walking Dead, that was one of my favorite comic book adaptations, and then I'm sorry to say it got very boring and drawn out at one point. But there was a lot of contests where regular people got to be zombies on that show.
Yeah.
So I wonder if Fallout, having the kind of following it does, if they'll give the public, us, you, that opportunity.
Maybe.
If you're not,
Certainly would be fun.
Let us know. Who is it? Amazon.
Well, you got to go through a casting agency, right?
I think essentially it does. It's like a contest type thing, but that contest is going to go through a casting agency. And then if you get chosen, I don't know how that works. I know we actually know we have a friend who has a friend who's been a zombie on The Walking Dead. So we might have to talk to that person. What was your favorite thing about Fallout? The series.
I like the story altogether. They, much like the video game, follow one person, and then when they shift, they give it a good enough shift, even when they're all together in the same areas, where you can follow one person's story. So it's kind of like the quests in the game, where you can turn on one quest and turn it off, and then turn back another. And I'm almost certain that's what they're going for, because that's what it feels like. Like you're switching between quests almost in a way, but through the different characters. And then of course, the ghoul himself, he gets to use VATS. They don't say it, but that's what's going on. Like, he doesn't just move like a ninja. Like, he moves faster than everyone else because he's using VATS. And I think they're using the he's full of drugs as kind of the angle of how that's working.
Right.
So I really hope they kind of go into that, or maybe
second season, maybe.
yeah, maybe they're like, what? How do you do that? And he's like, you just don't see what I see. And then, like, they see a VATS thing, and they could be super cheesy in just the video game, and that's fine. I think that's one of the reasons it's so successful, is that it embraces the goofiness of the game. I forgot the name of the vault and all of the specifics of it, but in one of the games, God, it's got to be 4. I think it's 4. There's a vault of Gary's. Like, it's all a clone of Gary's.
Like, wait, when you say Gary's, like, is Gary from another TV show?
No, that's just what the name of the character is.
Okay. Because isn't Gary... Who's the dad in Rick and Morty? Jerry. Okay, that's what I was thinking of.
And I might even be making it, might be, a vault of something else, but I'm pretty sure it's Gary. And
that's awesome.
Yeah, it's kind of part of the reason I'm saying that is because when they go into the what's the vault they fall into?
Was it Vault 4? When what's her name?
Lucy.
When Lucy and Maximus go into a vault the first
Right,
time?
they go into look for meds, and then they fall into that chute, and it takes them into the vault where what's his name has one eye.
Yeah, one eye. I think it was Vault 4.
Well, whatever that vault is, part of the fun about how that vault works in the video game aspect, in that world, is because everything is an experiment in those vaults and their mutations and stuff like that. Yeah. So then when you think like, there's a vault of Gary's that's just a bunch of clones of one guy.
Right.
And I even think that if you go and look at the story, I think it says something like Gary just took over and started cloning himself.
That's crazy.
I think, but I'm probably terribly wrong on that. Either way, it's a fun thought about it. And then, again, the playfulness of the show being more like the video game than trying to establish its own. The whole rewriting and if you're going to be remaking, quote unquote, something, why try to reinvent the wheel?
I get that. I think when it comes to the Super Mario Brothers movie, like I liked what they did with the animated movie. I didn't like what they did with the 90s movie. Even though I have nostalgia for the 90s movie, because as a kid I liked it. Then I grew up and
this movie's terrible.
Learned how to think for myself, and I was like, wow.
But I still
yeah. But I mean, I think with what they did with the cartoon, of course they had to reinvent the wheel. Kind of, they had to come up with its own story, but they also made that feel like that actually fits in the Mario universe. Whereas the first try with it, they really did go off.
Yeah.
With their trying their own thing, and that was bad.
I think it's reminiscent of older Hollywood, and you still get newer Hollywood doing a lot of the same, just trying to meet people in the middle.
Yeah.
And it's, I think I get it. I think it's like, well, I've got integrity. I want my own mark on this. Right. But also, if that's your job, is to make that.
That's what I'm saying. And for the longest time, I wanted to see a film, or maybe at this point a series, and I think it's in the works, of Legend of Zelda.
That'd be dope if they do it similar to how they're adapting this one.
And if they do, I mean, if they take it, if I was put in charge of making a Legend of Zelda show, it would be hard for me not to just say, we're doing Ocarina of Time. Mm-hmm. And no, we're not going to add little twist here and there. Ocarina of Time is a perfect story.
So
let's just do it.
Aside from Tom Holland, who's the perfect Link. Because he kind of is, right?
Tom Holland is
He might be
Honestly,
a
yeah.
little older now. We would need him to start filming ASAP.
That's true. Yeah, we would have to do him now. Otherwise, you got to go with someone real young.
Real young.
And I don't know if I know it. Well, if we're doing Ocarina of Time, you have to have two links.
Sure.
First of
Okay,
all,
I feel that.
you know, you have to have a real young Link, and you have to have
I understand where you're coming from.
someone about Tom
Unless we get
Holland's
some
age.
CGI in there.
That's true.
It could age the person too.
You could do that. I don't honestly. I
But if you want to, because if you're gonna, and I get Ocarina of Time where you can split timeline immediately and have story after story within that, right?
yeah, because
You know?
honestly, yeah, you can finish that storyline, and then once you finish that storyline, now if you want to
Make any other Link or Zelda,
Zelda,
whatever
yeah,
you want to call
now
it.
you got it.
Yeah, you can start wherever.
Mm-hmm.
You can go back to the original and start with that story, and yeah,
And
it'd be fun.
and since it's a time travel story, it would make sense to say, now that we've given everyone what they want, now we can do our own thing.
Sure, and
know?
yeah, and I get that too. But you gotta at least make the original one.
Yeah.
And even in the Batman world, I really hated, because to me, every time we saw a new Batman, they told that story again. The parents dying. That was the same problem. It just only a part of the movie.
Well, that's that's one of the things too with like you brought up Tom Holland. When it was announced that Andrew Garfield was no longer going to be Spider-Man, and as you know this, I love Spider-Man.
Yeah.
I love Spider-Man. But at this point in time, after the Andrew Garfield movies, I was like, I have dealt with Uncle Ben dying about 4 or 5 different times, and I understand 2 of those times are on screen. I'm talking video games, different stories in the comics.
Yeah.
Like I have dealt with Uncle Ben's death so many times, I don't want to do it again. And I'm so glad Marvel did not make me have to do it again.
Right. Now, I get it a lot. I think I get this too. I think it's because they grew all of a sudden.
Mm-hmm.
Like, you got to think Marvel was shit, literally. And I don't mean as a quality product. I mean, like, going down the tubes, right?
Yeah.
Until Fox, right? Fox bought the rights to the movies and stuff.
Well, they kind of got split up. I think what Marvel did, Marvel sold movie rights, and that's kind of what saved Marvel.
Right.
Marvel was about to go.
And that's what I'm saying, though. It's like,
who made the first? Was it Fox or was it Sony that made Blade? Because Blade essentially saved Marvel.
Oh, that's a good point too. Yeah.
I think that was Fox. I think you're right.
I don't recall. Either way, it was not going well.
Yeah.
And all of a sudden, movies, which was pretty much any comic person's dream, even the non-serious comic book person, would have always craved all, especially Deadpool.
Yeah.
Deadpool was like a godsend. Silver Surfer is going to be a godsend for me personally, because I hated the original, or not original, but the
first
Fantastic Four thing. I was not a fan of that character. I mean, he played the character. It's just the movie overall.
I have yet to see a Fantastic Four movie that I truly, truly enjoy.
But I think a lot of it's the same complaint. It's, yeah, you're trying to make your own mark on it, but you're trying to make your own mark on it. And, like, I think, and I don't know who it is, obviously. I don't know if it's the writer or the production company or the, whatever,
I think it really depends.
But there's somebody.
It depends on the studio. I know right now I can think of 2 different stories where supposedly it's worked, but like James Gunn with Guardians of the Galaxy, and I think he didn't follow comic book lore for that version of Guardians, but I think also you had a very lesser known
character model
characters, so there was no need to do that. So you get to do this, and it worked. Whereas, a lot of the times when you do try to put your own mark on an established character that everyone knows and everyone loves.
But that's kind of what I'm getting at, right? Going back to the point was Marvel was kind of going down the tubes until movies, and their mantra was probably like, you got to make sure everybody knows what this character's about.
Yeah.
It's almost like wrestlers, right? Not especially indie, you kind of got to do your own same routine a lot, or even comedians. But until you start when you start selling arenas, stop doing the same routine.
Yeah.
Et cetera, right? I would think that it's pretty similar in all of those.
For the most part, yeah.
And I think that's what happened is they got too big all of a sudden, but the mantra of like, we still need to make sure everybody knows this story might be in there. And of course, it's tough, right? It's got to be tough to figure out what everybody wants without having a model, especially for the earlier ones.
Oh, yeah.
Even with the Andrew Garfield stuff, we're still halfway into anything. movies of these wise, right? When did they come out? 2004?
The Andrew Garfield movies?
Yeah, 2002.
No, because that was Tobey Maguire.
Okay.
08, 09, maybe.
Oh, that much later. I guess they had they should have known better then. I take back what I was.
The Andrew Maguire ones.
Andrew Maguire. Andrew Garfield.
That would be great. Let's make Andrew Maguire.
I'm really hoping that we do get to see, on the Andrew and the Maguire. I really do hope the rumors of the Tobey Maguire Spider-Man character coming back.
I would like that.
And I think that they have the opportunity with what they've done to make all of those movies work.
I think they do. You and I talked about it back when Far From Home came out. Far From Home?
Yeah.
No Way Home. When No Way Home came out, you set it up to where, I mean, honestly, Marvel can now still continue to make Peter Parker stories with Tom Holland. There's no reason Sony couldn't give us both Spider-Man 4 and Amazing Spider-Man 3.
Yeah.
They really could. And I think because you didn't made this movie, it wouldn't confuse the public.
Right.
The public would be like, oh, this is 3 different universes, and we get to enjoy them all at the same time.
I honestly think you could do some sort of cool... I know Scarlet Spider didn't really start so much like this, but he was a clone, right? Scarlet Spider?
Yeah.
So you could do it, and this would be a changing of that story, but you could do a Scarlet Spider thing with Andrew Garfield and Tobey Maguire Spider-Man, because they don't look exactly the same, but they're obviously both Spider-Man, and we've already got a multiverse thing. So even if they were to tussle some of the, I think that might be an option that changes a character model of a lesser known character.
That's true. I would love to see a Scarlet Spider movie.
That'd be kind of dope, right? And I think because he really is just Peter Parker. Just what was his name in the David? Something basic too.
Well, there's been 2 Scarlet Spiders.
Okay, yeah.
But I think the one everyone thinks of, and especially the one that's being showcased in the Across the Spider-Verse cartoon, the Miles Morales cartoon.
Oh yeah,
is Ben Reilly.
Okay, Ben Reilly.
Yeah.
So then he just adopts those names because Uncle Ben, and then what's Riley?
I don't remember.
There's another name that he could still adopt those names easily.
Riley is his mother's maiden name?
Something.
Is that right?
Or it might be Aunt May's maiden name.
Yeah, it's something like that.
But either way, yeah, he could easily adopt those names for this character too. And he's like, I'm stuck here. This Peter's dead. And I don't know which one we're talking about here. Probably Andrew Garfield's Spider-Man lives, to be honest, if they wanted to make tearjerker.
Yeah.
But I think that'd be fun.
I think it would be fun. That'd be a lot of fun.
Have like what you're talking about. They're bringing them all together. Then they, like at the end, it's like, Peter, I need your help. Multiverse scene. And then that other third of these, 2 merging movies, that third movie is that storyline where
there's also the rumors of, and I don't know how I feel about this one. So we know that Marvel's doing the Secret Wars, and in the original Secret Wars comics, Spider-Man was put in charge of a team of heroes to fight the Secret Wars. There is speculation that even though this is the Marvel universe, that Tobey Maguire's Peter Parker will be the one that's in charge of that. Which honestly, I think with what I think that's more. I think that's more fan speculation and more fan dream, because if you look at the way those Peter Parkers interacted, when they finally got together and were led as a team, who led that team? It was Tom Holland.
Yeah. Also, on the back end of things, financially and all that, the deals, they don't quote unquote own Tobey Maguire.
No.
This side doesn't.
Right.
So I think it's more realistic that we see independent Sony action, and then these guys doing Secret Wars with Tom Holland.
Yeah, I think that's a more realistic speculation. Don't get me wrong; it's probably still dead in the water and just speculation, but
be cool.
It would be super cool, for real.
Yeah, it'd be real cool. And then that could even be where he gets stuck over here and he just adopts the Scarlet Spider just to give Peter Parker his own space.
Yeah.
And it's a similar thought process of, adapting that lesser known character that's still a very fun character. And this arguably gets the same backstory across, It's not a clone, but a different version of him.
That's true.
Not tomato, but close enough.
On this lines, because I want to get back to Fallout, but I do want to say this. It just dawned in my head. You know, they've been putting out the Spider-Man villain movies or Spider-Man
Oh
supporting
yeah, like
character
Madam
movies.
Web,
Madam Web, and
Morbius,
now there's going to be
Blade.
well, not Blade. Blade's going to be part of the MCU now.
Oh.
Craven.
They're gonna make the standalone Craven with
The
the guy that was Kick-Ass, right?
Yeah. Which I kept sitting here going, I don't know why you're making supporting character movies when you don't have the character for them to support. I read somewhere that
It's a ramp up.
it could be a ramp up, but it's also the way deals work. If Sony leaves the Spider-Man universe dead in the water, then after
Marvel gets the chance
Marvel,
to just move.
Marvel gets it.
Yeah.
For if they leave it for so many
like, you guys
years.
had your chance.
So it's kind of like it's like, well, we don't have to argue with Marvel about making a Craven movie because Spider-Man's not in it, but we get to keep all the rights
because we're making Spider-Man content.
Yeah.
It's
It's even worse, right?
Brother.
Yeah.
You're making movies just to keep the rights to something you're gonna fuck up like you fucked up twice. I hate that, man. I don't hate it because they're just like holding on to it. I hate it because they're holding on to it without changing.
Yeah. Yeah. I agree. I don't think it's a good move. I mean, I think if you're gonna make the move, do it with conviction and do it well.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? I just think if you're just like, I will just pump out some shitty script.
That's also though going back to the Scarlet Spider. That's a way they could get a Spider-Man without having to, like they do the deal for these Spider-Man, and then they get the Scarlet Spider character, and now you've got a Scarlet Spider who's Andrew Garfield or Toby, probably Andrew
Either
again.
One, yeah.
But that's doing the same exact thing. Everyone's just calling him Scarlet now or whatever. The newer fans will make their own thing for him. They might just keep calling him Spider-Man. Who knows? But yeah, then Sony gets a good actor. He's not, I don't think, Tom Holland. As far as Peter Parker goes, I don't. But good. He's not shit by any means. Yeah. And yeah, you're making Spider-Man movies again.
Yeah.
You can bring every single Spider-Man story to life with that Scarlet Spider character from then on.
You really could, and it would be well received and well liked.
Exactly.
And you don't have to, if you're trying, yeah, like you said, if you're really trying to play this game of we want to keep the rights to these, give that universe a Spider-Man.
Yeah, play chess instead of checkers over there.
Use the clone storyline. And I don't know, maybe that's what Marvel's setting up for theirs too. Maybe that's why Sony has.
Who's producing the cartoons? Is that Marvel?
That depends on which cartoons.
The Miles Morales stories.
That's Sony.
So Sony's doing this. Yeah. So see, they even have Scarlet or not Scarlet. They even have 2099 and all that stuff, man. Yeah. They have loads of variants that are easily frontliners.
Oh, absolutely. And also, I don't think anyone would question it. You could recast Emma Stone as Gwen Stacy and give us a Spider-Gwen movie, and we'd eat it up. I'd eat it up. Granted, you might want to go with someone younger and, no offense, Gwen, no offense, Emma, but more athletic.
Well, there's probably somebody that's training.
Yeah.
I mean, that's one thing that's Tom Holland's godsend, or whatever you want to call it, his great planning, whatever.
He did
all of the above. He's been in ballet and some sort of training of some sort from all of his life since he was young.
Yeah,
right?
he did a backflip in his screen test.
Yeah,
from what I understand.
Yeah, so not just athletic, but trained. Yeah, and from he's probably 22 now. How old is he?
I think he's older than 22 now. I think he's like 26.
I mean, and it's funny because you say like he's getting older for the he's only but when it comes to the time, I mean, we've got 2 more movies they can make in 5 years tops. So by the end of that is what I'm getting at, right? And I think anybody, you got to plan for how old he's going to be at the end of that last filming.
Right. That's true.
Not so much right now. And that's why I say you'd probably end up with Andrew Garfield being the Scarlet if they ended up doing something like that, because he's slightly younger.
Well, also Ben Riley was pretty rough around the edges, and especially how especially how Andrew's Peter was in No Way Home with his talking about how he wasn't pulling his punches. It makes sense.
And he's already lost his Gwen, so he's got like a I could shift into a negative feeding of all of this, which is kind of Scarlet's thing. Like he's not an anti-hero, but he's still a little bit on the fence of
He
things.
was a little dark. Like Peter had to
Right.
take him out.
Not so much, not like Venom style, but also still, keep him in line, so to speak.
If I remember how that storyline ended, Peter was like, "No, dude, you can't. You're ruining my name.
Yeah.
Stop." Like,
so there's that. Still has the hero aspect, but the dark part could. Yeah, I think it really would play.
I think it would too.
And again, I think Andrew Garfield's a good enough actor that, especially if you shift it from being Spider-Man, for some reason, I just think that torch is just different, and I think he runs with that torch. Versus Spider-Man, yeah, he did good. I still prefer Tobey's first movie.
I will always have nostalgia for Tobey's first movie. I understand why people defend Tobey hand over foot.
But when you wrap up with that third one, it's hard. It's really hard to stay loyal to, even the nostalgia state. That third one was absolutely rubbish. And it wasn't just the script. But I could see why your heart's not in it because of a script like that too.
Yeah. I do think, Andrew Garfield, regardless of script, when you take script out of the, what am I trying to say, out of the picture? I think Andrew Garfield is my favorite Spider-Man. Who was not in my favorite Spider-Man movies. I just love the way he did Spider-Man. Also didn't really care for how he played Peter. But I love the way he did Spider-Man.
Yeah, he's a good Spider-Man, great Spider-Man. Again, the Peter part is, and I even think I mentioned only that because of that.
Yeah, I think, well, so much, and I think that is why, because there was always the argument of Tobey was a better Peter Parker, Andrew was a better Spider-Man. There was that argument for the longest time. I don't know where everyone falls on that. I don't even know where you fall on that. But, if you just take that to be true, so much of what makes Spider-Man's story interesting is how much Spider-Man affects Peter Parker's life. So that's why, even just based on that statement, I feel like that's why most people's favorite Spider-Man is Tobey Maguire, because they say that Tobey Maguire played the better Peter.
He had more stuff on his plate.
Yeah, he had more stuff on his plate.
Yeah, they really did a good job making that one feel comic book.
If I remember correctly, that first Spider-Man movie is almost page for page Amazing Fantasy 15. Almost. Different villain. I don't remember if there was even a villain in Amazing Fantasy. But, yeah, it was almost page for page. The origin story out of the comics.
So in Fallout...
Sorry, yeah, we started about Fallout. Let's get back to Fallout.
So I was thinking for a bit that Pearson was going to be like somehow the Ghoul's relative, but she's the overseer that's been elected now.
Okay.
She is shown at least in the very last episode to being like an assistant in vault-tec.
Yeah.
And then I was thinking, okay, well then his family's got to be dead. The
Ghoul's family?
Right. Because when it's all said and done, the Ghoul is my character. That's the character I'm following. Lucy is presented as a main character, but there are three main characters. You know what I mean?
There are three main characters, and I think it's going to get interesting for them all. Now two of them hang out together for the whole first series. Now that two of them are going off, the other one's over here now. They're switching them up.
Yeah. I'm really curious to see what happens to his family, and I think he's going to end up sad. I think it's going to end up where his daughter's in charge of something that he doesn't like.
I think his daughter's dead.
You think she's dead? Okay.
I think she's dead. But I think I see where you're coming from too. I see it.
I think either she's at the peak of what's going on with vault-tec now, or she's off in the wasteland doing something corrupt, and he's going to end up
like real corrupt.
Yeah, like slavery or something, and they're going to cross paths, and even though he's like rough and gruff, everybody deserves to die, and it's kill or be killed. He still has himself in there. That's why he even doesn't kill Lucy.
Yeah.
I think, right? So I believe that that's what's going to happen is he's going to either find that out, and then the mom's dead, his wife, or she's like again the vault-tec. Right. She's in one of the vaults doing something skeezy too.
Could be. Oh yeah, I think wife is doing something skeezy.
So you think she's alive, and we're gonna run into her?
Absolutely. I just think it makes a sadder story for me if the daughter is dead. I do want to explore more of if the daughter is alive though, because that is interesting. You think she's grown up and she's doing something skeezy?
Well, I mean, she's been raised into vault-tec at that point,
Right.
What? So, she's like 8 years old in that first scene where the cloud's coming up. And so if he's able to survive this long, she's able to, regardless of what's happened past that. But it could be that she succumbs to that, and that's why he walks off into the wasteland, and she's been dead this whole time. He says, "Where's my family?" looking for his wife because he wants to kill her.
Yeah.
You think that's it?
I think that's it. I think honestly, so yeah, to me, what I think we're gonna learn in series 2 is that wife doing what she did to do the vault-tec stuff, because we found out in the last episode that wife dropped the bomb.
Right.
Or encouraged the dropping of the bomb.
Yeah, she said we're going to do it ourselves.
Yeah, we're going to do it ourselves. She was in on it. She was one of the most corrupt characters we discovered at the end.
Right.
Because we thought for a while that she was just falling for the trick of protection, the illusion of safety. We thought that.
Right, and she even kind of presents it like that.
Yeah,
but no, she's
creating the illusion of safety is what it is. So I think that she did this for her family, and I think when Dad says there's a real world, there's this and that, Mom's not who you think she is, and convinces daughter, I think wife disowns, maybe even kills daughter.
So if daughter's alive and then they run into each other, you think that mom turns on daughter?
I do.
Either way, the ghoul's killing mom, right?
Yeah,
I think
definitely.
we both agree that ghoul, no matter what, if she's not dead now, he killed her 100 years ago and is looking for his daughter now.
Yeah.
But one way or another, ghoul's killing mom. I think Lucy ends up killing dad.
I think so too. I think she will.
And or Maximus has to pull the trigger, and then she gets mad at Maximus.
That's a good possibility. I really want to know how Maximus's story is going to go. I honestly do think. I think you're right there. I think Maximus doesn't make it past season 2 or season 2.
I don't think so. I think he dies halfway.
Yeah.
And I think we get to find. I don't necessarily think another Brotherhood, maybe an Enclave person, or even maybe just another Wastelander. Yeah. Maybe even a courier.
That was one thing you brought up there. Because we were playing the video games. I said, I'm not as familiar with the video games as you are. And I asked about the Brotherhood because the Brotherhood is culty as fuck.
Sure, yeah.
In this, what we've seen. But you said that the Brotherhood we see in the show.
Very Caesar Legion. Very Caesar Legion. And then you get the tease of like New Vegas out in the back when the dad's leaving at the very end. There's that cityscape, right? Is that New Vegas? I haven't even double checked because it's been so long. But I think that's what it is. So they're almost teasing like we're right around the corner from, obviously we start on the shoreline, but there's potential with his armor on that he made it towards New Vegas within that time, Yeah. He flies off, for God's sake.
So Caesar Legion is a different sect of the Brotherhood, or is it a different idea all together?
Caesar Legion is just like a new government that was established, by a guy adapting a Caesar-esque, type premise. And so the guys will dress up in, red cloak and, gold and helmets and the whole thing, yeah.
Okay. And then, so what was the Brotherhood like in the games?
A lot like this one, but
but
the points that are different are more of the cult. The Brotherhood's still culty, but their thing is that, like, how he's like, what is this artifact, Maximus? And then he hits him.
Yeah.
Because he doesn't. Well, he's showing him a schematic for something, right? I think it's a microwave.
I can't remember.
Well,
But
so
yeah,
that's
you're
the thing
fucking
about the
right.
Brotherhood is that they go collect artifacts, which is just old technology, whether it's a television that still works or a toaster. And I think Titus before he dies might or not. Wait, Titus is that the one that
Ti-
Maximus kills off
Titus
or
was
lets die?
Titus was the knight that Maximus let die.
Okay, so I think it's Titus that even might mumble off something like, "They sent me out here for an artifact. It's a fucking," and he complains about it's like some average everyday thing.
Yeah. Oh, okay.
So they're culty because they'll still go do that, even like the ones that are aware that this is bullshit. I'm going to die for a fucking TV, but they'll
Yeah.
still go do it.
Yeah.
So there's a lot of points to it that it's like that. There are still a lot of the hierarchy, how they keep each other in high esteem, but the names specifically are the Caesar Legion thing. At least my thought for it right off the bat, and there's just subtleties to it. There's subtleties to it. Is the only thing I could say. They're still very similar. In both sects are similar to each other, but the focus is part of it, you know. And so their focus on technology versus also focusing on the lordship of the knight is part of it.
One thing I want to touch on real quick, I forgot, is it does this has more to do with the idea of Fallout than it does the shows or the video games, or I guess maybe everything. I love. Is it 50s sci-fi that Fallout is modeled over?
Yeah, pretty much.
I think I really love 50s sci-fi, and I know we talk about um, making movies a lot. I really think at some point we should tackle like
It'd
doing
be fun.
something Ed Wood style.
Yeah.
Um, I think that'd be a lot of fun.
You see the little string and everything.
Yeah, yeah, absolutely. Cheesy as hell.
Yeah.
Like because I love that. When I watched that movie and immediately I was like I was taken back to my first experience with a 50s sci-fi style game, which was Destroy All Humans.
Yeah, yeah.
And I was like, dude, I was like, when I'm done watching this, I want to go play that game, which I know is weird. Should make you want to go play Fallout, but also made me want to go play Fallout. Don't get me wrong. I was like, I could go spend a weekend going back and forth between being an alien and being a vault or atom bomb survivor.
Yeah. I've never really played Destroy All Humans, but
I mean, it's a simple game. It's you're an alien. The CIA, before everyone knew what the CIA was, because the CIA kind of came out of the dark, right? I think the CIA is trying to get you. You got like little missions you're supposed to explore the world. I mean, it's like Grand Theft Auto, but you're an alien, and when you fuck up, the government comes after you.
I see. Fair enough. So other than that, you know, like so I said, the Brotherhood I think is a little Caesar Legion-y. The Ghoul, we kind of both agree that in some way he's killing his wife.
Yes,
Probably for killing the daughter. Then, if we have to really, if I have to go back
I
to
feel
it,
like that might be it.
like maybe she did die and he wants to find her to kill her now.
Yeah, but I think you might be onto something. I think he might kill wife
And then
and
daughter turns out.
and discover daughter still alive. I really think actually I
Uh,
think that's
that's
the
pretty
most likely
Fallout.
thing.
It is. That's a pretty Fallout thing to do.
I know it's kind of a I don't want to say basic for that kind of storytelling, but it also I mean it is, right? Like guys wanting to get his vengeance because man or like villain killed his family, kills villain, discovers part of that family still somewhere.
Yeah. I mean, they did that on The Boys, right? Didn't he
I
think?
think.
Didn't he think his son was dead? I don't know.
I don't know. I mean, I know I've seen it a handful of times.
But go ahead and get into our comments, guys, and tell us what your theories are on Fallout. We've been enjoying the heck out of it. I'm gonna go for a third view real soon. Probably start tonight. Highly recommend picking it up. If you haven't played any of the games, Xbox Pass, believe it or not, has them on there. You go check them out.
Has all of them, I believe.
I think so.
I looked, and I mean, when I say all of them, I think Fallout, Fallout 2,
Yeah.
3.
I do definitely recommend the first two, even to this day. If you've never played through them, they're fun stories. There's action in them. It's a very different game. It's a role. It's a turn-based RPG type thing. Over the
Oh yeah, yeah.
There's little squares you can only move in. It's very different, but so much fun.
I played like 20% of the way through Fallout 3, which I know you're describing as a little different of gameplay, but I honestly kicked my own tail about not finishing it. I think I'm going to at some point.
There's a lot of good stuff.
I'll have to start from the beginning. There's no way I could start from where I'm at because there's so much.
I don't remember a lot of I'm really good about remembering while I'm in there, so I'll remember where things are hidden while I'm playing it. But I couldn't tell you a lot of the story right now. I know it's in DC area. You get to explore a lot of like museums and stuff that are real and kind of really in where they're at. So if you're ever in that area or you're real familiar with the area, you'll recognize spots where you're at and how to get there and stuff. So it's kind of neat.
Yeah, it is. If you do like Fallout currently, we are playing Fallout 76 on our Twitch stream.
We'll be switching that tonight.
Yeah. So y'all check that out.
Love you.
Love you.